Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. Today's album review, fix my camera here, is on ABC's fourth album called Alphabet City, which came out in 1987. Um, I had, this is the second time that I've been on my channel. I reviewed How to Be a Millionaire, or is it How to Be a Zillionaire? I always forget. How to Be a Millionaire. I reviewed that and gave that a 63 out of 100. It was a really good album. Um, I was a little bit surprised to hear that going through Alphabet City, because I always think of like How to Be a Millionaire has got some really strong songs on it, but Alphabet City is a more complete album, and so it's higher rated in my rankings. And this is the artist's fourth album. They had some strong success early on, with Poison Heart, Poison Arrow, and Look of Love. Like those two songs were played on the radio quite a bit, and MTV. And even though their second album had a little bit of a lull, How to Be a Millionaire had some couple big hits on it. And then fast forward to here, When Smokey Sings, their biggest hit yet. So the band was on a roll during this time, and unfortunately, this is probably their last album that did well in America, let alone in any country's charts. But which is sad because I really like ABC's albums, and I think they have a lot of good music. Um, but their '80s musics are well. I take the back. I really like Abracadabra in 1991, but I feel they always did a great job of blending the whatever music, dance music was hip at the time into their own music, right? When you think of like Tears Are Not Enough, right? They came out in '79, right? Out of sort of the new romantic period, out of disco. They incorporated disco into their music, and it was successful. Then you take sort of synth pop and new wave and even early dance music, '80s dance music incorporated into their style, like, How to Be a Millionaire and Be Near Me and stuff like that. And then they sort of got into like a little bit of like acid house and with the album after this called Up, and was fairly successful at with like better uh, one better place and one better world. I'm trying to think of the other song on there. Um, and then and then Abracadabra was more like house music, right? So, and a little bit of techno in 1991, and sort of incorporated that in their styles. So I always felt that they always did a really good job of being on the cusp of what dance music was cool, and I think in even a better way is they made it they did it so well that their songs are timeless. I just did Bjork's debut album, and she incorporated a little bit of house music on there and trance and techno, and it kind of sounds kind of dated now. And sometimes that's the period that you're trying to that you're trying to say, oh, well, this is what's going on right now in dance music, and you sort of take that, and sometimes it works, sometimes it won't, as far as like the timelessness of it. But in my opinion, but I think a lot of ABC stuff really stands the test of time in a good way. A lot of great memories with ABC's albums. Every album that kind of came out, I was played a lot in my household. Like, I have Lexicon of Love on the wall. I have that record on my wall. Beauty Stab, my sister had and always played. How to Be a Millionaire was always played. I had that. We had that cassette in my parents' car. We always used to play that. This is my original record from 1987. Alphabet City always got played. And then Abracadabra, man, I used to always play that record too. I got that on cassette and CD and vinyl. So, um, I've always been a big fan of ABC. And I think this album is probably their most cohesive. Although I probably will be interesting to see if I rate Abracadabra and Lexicon of Love better than this album. Um, because that'll be close. Some of the songs on here that I like, obviously the singles are really strong. When Smokey Sings is really strong. Night You Murdered Love, King Without a Crown is really strong. But also, um, I really like One Day and Bad Blood. You know, those are a couple really good ones that I like. There's, this album is really consistent. There's really no song that is under 2.25 stars for me. So none of the songs are lower than good. Julian Mendelsohn engineered this album, who was really strong. And of course, Ann Dudley again with strings, which she was on Lexicon of Love and also Lexicon of Love 2. And did a lot of work with Pet Shop Boys and other bands. She's obviously a good. Does she conduct strings? Is she or is she a band like leader? Like, is she a full on conductor, or is she just conducts strings, and or is she a full on conductor? I don't know. I'm asking if anybody knows. But she's been on so many albums. You know what I mean? Crying Game, Boy George. Um, that's the good of the album. The overall good. I think it sounds really good as well. This album. It sounds very 1987. Let's put it that way. Um, there's 9 tracks on here. There is 2 interludes on here that I don't necessarily count. Avenue A and Avenue Z that are always like a minute long on either side of the album, but I do feel like they present a good opening and closing to the album, even if they are just street noises and sounds and stuff like that, and a little bit of horns. But I think it's a cool bookend to the album. But I'm not going to rate those songs individually. When Smokey Sings, classic in many ways. It's kind of his ode to Smokey Robinson, right? The soulfulness of Smokey Robinson, and I like the way he puts it. Like, you know, I can't remember. You know, he says Marvin sings like this, or James Brown does this, or what. But when Smokey sings, you know, it's just. I think that's a great ode to Smokey Robinson, which, you know, he's a fantastic singer. I've never heard his opinion of the song. You know, this song went top 5 in America. I never. I wonder if Smokey ever said that he liked the song, or if he ever performed the song. It'd be kind of interesting to perform your own when Smokey sings and you're singing about yourself. But I think it'd be kind of interesting to hear him sing that song. But I've never heard of if he liked it, or I'm sure he did. I think it's a great Northern Soul kind of pop dance song. I think, you know, it kind of works on so many levels. You know, is it probably a little too popular for my liking to play a lot? Yeah. You know, I don't pretend to play the song a lot. In fact, I rarely play this, but I do very much respect the song for what it is and how catchy it is. And I gave it 3.75 stars. The Night You Murdered Love, I think, is also a strong single. I gave it 3.75 stars. The beat, the bass line, smooth, piano, excuse me, and the strings, triumphant ending, 3.75 stars. Think Again, there's a lot of like, Think Again, Rage and Regret, Archangel, and even Jealous Lover. There's a lot of songs in here that are verging on being very good, but just aren't there. And and I think they're kind of interchangeable in some ways. They all have their moments, and they're all very catchy. But they are just a little bit under other ones that you would sort of rate in that sort of realm, and maybe that's sort of Be Near Me, or you know, just other sort of, you know, even Look of Love or Poison Arrow, just like not on that level, but they are good songs. Rage and Think Again, I got 2.5 stars. Cool beat, some nice 808 sounds in here. Key bells, I mean the keys and the bells. Love the 808 bells. One of my favorite drum machine sounds is 808 bells. Maybe trying too hard a little bit on this, but again, all these songs are kind of interchangeable. They're good, but they're not quite on the very good level. Thinking Again, I got 2.5 stars. Rage and Regret, I like a little bit better at 2.75 stars. Archangel has a cool beat, really like that. 2.5 stars. King Without a Crown, 3 stars, I like a little bit better. Bad Blood, I like a little bit better than that. 3.25 stars. Smooth Track. Jealous Lover, 2.25 stars. Kind of a little corny, but you get that with ABC sometimes. Sometimes they have a little bit of corniness, but it's catchy corniness. And then One Day is a good kind of end of the album. It's got a nice slow groove to it. It's sung really well too. 3.25 stars. So I take the songs, uh, 27. They add up to 27 divided by 9 songs, so 3.0 flat. There's really nothing opportunity wise on this album. There is a track called Minneapolis. It's a B side to The Night You Murdered Love. Wish that song was on here. I really like that song. Minneapolis, check it out. Really cool. If you like vaporwave, check out Minneapolis. Yeah, 3 stars per song. I got that right in line with the album. I give it a 70 out of 100. I think it's a very good album. It's right at the very bottom of the rating scale for very good, 70 out of 100. I'm sure I probably have Lexicon around 75. Um, Maybe Abracadabra might be a little bit closer to 80. It's just a personal favorite. There's so many good songs on there. And I got a lot of memories about that album specifically. I think it's really underrated. And that one might be closer to 80. So I'd probably say Alphabet City is probably my third favorite. I think Beauty Stab is probably in the 65. And there are other albums. Traffic, I've never heard that album. There are 97 albums. Sky. I do have that CD. It's not. I'll have to take a listen again, but it's not very good. And I was a little disappointed in A Lexicon of Love 2, which came out in 2016. I did get that when it came out, and a little disappointed by that, but I'll probably rate that. I'll go through all the ABC albums for sure. But to say my top four is probably Abracadabra, then second would be Lexicon of Love, Alphabet City third, and probably still, uh, How Can You Expect to Be Taken Serious? No, not How Can You. How to Be a Zillionaire, How to Be a Millionaire is probably fourth favorite. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Alphabet City, 70 over 100. Good album. Really enjoyed it. Been a while since I heard it. All right, thanks so much.